was heard, and we'll be seeing from all of them going forward. We will get a bit more in terms of the speeches from the different individuals as well who were present. Remember, we heard from Kennedy Ohini Japan, but I'll bring that back as well as we line up our guests for you this morning for quite the conversation on what to expect in the aftermath of the primaries coming to an end. Engineer Kwabene Japan also spoke. It was very, very brief. Let's take a listen in as well to what he had to say.
I'm really thrilled to be here this evening. This very somber moment with all of us. I identify with all the sentiments expressed by my fellow aspirants. I also want to add that we have a wonderful opportunity to restore the values that animated the formation of this solid party, the MPP. We can be proud of our forebears, that our tradition is a tradition that is responsible for the sustenance of democracy in our country. And together we will unite, and I trust that we'll work hard, as we've always done in the past, right from the polling stations up to the top. Let's work together with a passion and a purpose for the people of Ghana. I am confident that we will earn the trust of Ghanaians. We will earn the confidence of Ghanaians. And in 2028, the elephant will be back. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's Engineer Kwabene Japan as well, who spoke yesterday. Not yesterday, it was on Saturday. The NPP's headquarters. It was a mini rally of some sort, really, where after everything was said and done, the individuals gathered and congratulated the winner, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, who emerged victorious. Like I've been telling you, I have quite the guest lineup for you. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo is a statesman, NPP's founding member. Dr. Abdul Jalilu Ateko is a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana. Reverend Father Michael Kobena Akonkweku is a peace and conflict resolution facilitator. So will Professor Kobe Mensah as well join us, and then Stephen Osea Chiao is a political marketing expert as well join us. And so for every one of them, the conversation will be different, really, in terms of what it is that we're looking forward to hearing from them. But let me take it back to Kennedy Ohini Japan again, so we can hear from him as to what he had to say following the outcome of the elections from Saturday.
Of the EC, security agencies, the Presidential Election Committee,
the former
media,
President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the flag bearer elect Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, all the aspirants present, party chairman, general secretary, minority leader, chairman, the council of elders, and MPP party. I stand before you to pledge my support, also to accept the results declared by EC. The delegates have spoken, and I want to plead with my supporters that they should stay calm and respect the results and help all of us to work together to win 2029 or 2028 election. I want to advise my supporters. First, I want to thank you, but I advise that in election, you can win and you can lose. So if you lose, you have to accept it in good faith. So let's all of us throw our support to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the flag bearer. And all I say is, MPP, we need unity in the party. But unity comes with respect. We have to respect each other's views. That is all I want to say tonight. So congratulations to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and MPP. Thank you.
That's Kennedy Ohini, Japan. We'll hear from the eventual winner, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia now. But do we have anybody yet, or we'll proceed? Right. So let's hear from Dr. Bawumia, who emerged victorious. He spoke for a very long time, 15 minutes, and we'll hear bits and pieces of his speech as well, and then we'll get onto the phone lines pretty shortly.
Former flag bearer aspirants, fellow Cuprodites, ladies and gentlemen. I want to start by thanking God Almighty for making this day possible. I also want to thank all the tens of thousands of delegates who voted in today's election. Officials of the EC, security agencies, the Presidential Election Committee, the media, and the generality of the Ghanaian people. Your vote, your work, your coverage, and your general following have all contributed to getting us thus far. It is with a deep sense of pride and humility that I address you this evening, following what has turned out to be a blistering battle for the flag bearership of the new patriotic party. To secure anything precious in this life, we must be prepared to fight the hard battles, prepared to work hard, and be prepared to withstand difficult circumstances. I am glad that you and I have successfully fought the hard battles, worked hard, and withstood the difficulties that came our way. And tonight, victory is for all of us. I am grateful. The MPP is grateful. To you all, and Ghana is grateful. I need to reiterate from the outset, our tradition is for all of us. I am grateful. The MPP is grateful. To you all, and Ghana is grateful. I need to reiterate from the outset, our tradition has an enviable history of selecting leaders largely based on the mood of the party. At any point in time, our party unites around an individual, usually the best bet for national elections and governance. This individual usually emerges meritoriously on account of loyalty and contributions to party growth. It is our members' way of rewarding loyalty, vision, competence, and sacrifice. Our members have done this meticulously and repeatedly. As democratic space setters, we need to respect the wisdom and the decisions of our members represented by the delegates. It matters not which side you supported. Winners and those who didn't win at this particular time, we are in this together. All true and committed members of the great MPP need to embrace this civilized and time-tested way of selecting flag bearers. Political parties are assemblies of like-minded people. Whilst we may believe that our ideas are the best, we should be prepared to accept that there might be other ideas that may serve the larger interests of the party. As it is often said, after competition comes cooperation, and our expectation that all party members will apply themselves to this principle. It cannot be the case that one's support for the party is maintained only when those we support lead. I want to stand on this energy to make a passionate appeal to all members of the great MPP to let go of whatever reservations they have and come together. We need every idea, every voice, and every piece of advice to help us preserve and project a proud tradition bequeathed to us by our forebears. Let it not be said anywhere on any day that the party of B.J. Darochi, Peter Alagete, Odoy Sykes, J. Kufuor, Professor Mike Okwe, C.K. Tedham, J.H. Mensah, Aliu Mahama, Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo, among other great patriots, could not handle disagreements as natural ways of stating alternative positions. I have the duty to the delegates who stood by me and to the delegates who found worthy ideas in my brothers who contested me. My election today communicates a broad-based appeal across the party, and I need to draw directly on that capital to unite the party as one of the crucial steps to winning power in 2028. I call on all to join in this bounden duty. After all, as the Akans say, prayer say uyi bako ana ebu ukaboma emu. United we stand, and divided we fall. As we embark on this crucial journey to rebuild our brand and reposition our party for electoral glory, let me remind you, dear party members, that whatever we have gone through during the past few months is not new in the politics of Ghana. We have fellow crocodiles. The data shows that anytime the MPP is solidly behind the chosen flag bearer, the Ghanaian voter returns the favor by voting massively for our usually superior and life-changing policies and programs. We cannot therefore fail ourselves or Ghanaians. On this crucial point, I will undertake targeted engagements to revitalize our party, speaking with all members. This includes visits to some of our respected elders who for various reasons feel aggrieved. Every voice matters. Every opinion is worth considering. and every suggestion is vital to building a formidable strategy. To the youth of our party, the outcome of this contest rightly belongs to you. We will not be at the helm of affairs forever. The future of our party rests on your energy, dedication, and desire to see a vibrant political vehicle. Anytime the youth groups in the party rise, the great elephant soars. To the millions of our supporters and sympathizers nationwide, I know some of you refrained from voting in the last election because you were unhappy with several issues. We have started the process of reform. I assure you, Mahmoud Bawumia as flag bearer will do everything to ensure that the MPP listens more to you.
That's the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, speaking from a podium at a mini rally where he was announced winner of the party's presidential primary. I'm happy to say that I've been joined on the phone by Dr. Abdul Jalilu Ateku, who is a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana. Doc, it's my first time speaking to you, and so I'll say a happy new year to you and a happy new month as well. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, Mawina.
I believe you followed the process of elections, and even before the elections, the period of campaigning and all what it is that we saw play out in the NPP's race. There's been a lot of talk about peace, rallying together, and working towards election 2028. But the big question that remains for everybody, both in and out of the party, is how does the NPP heal? All right? How do they heal? How do they forgive? And how do they reconcile ahead of their journey for election 2028? How do they do that outside of the flowery speeches we heard from the podium on Saturday?
Thank you very much, Mawina, and then good morning to the listeners, the viewers, everyone. Talking about how the MPP will heal, I think that the MPP has an internal mechanism for conflict resolution, building relationships, right? And I think that in my view, over the years, they have not been able to make effective use of that. And their failure to do that has affected the party over the years, especially after the 2016 election victory. Some pre-election surveys that we conducted and then post-election survey 2020 election, you can clearly see the cracks within the parties. It was across the country. I travel many constituencies in North. Ebono is Bono, Ahafo, and the other colleagues. The whole country. Several constituencies. You realize that you could find maybe the parliamentary candidate and his team. You could find the maybe the chairman and another group. Sometimes, in some cases, three groups within the same in one constituency. Right. So that has affected them in 2020 elections, and that is why they dropped from 169 to 137. So someone said that maybe from there they could have done something about it. But unfortunately, I didn't see any serious reconciliation, right, moving after the 2020 elections, okay? And then somewhere they have to have the flag bearership election, and because of this internal rift and all that, one key person withdrew from the race and subsequently resigned. That's Alan Kojo Chiramanten, right? And when these things happen, you will find that it means that they will still be, instead of fighting with you, this time they'll be fighting against you because they have a candidate in that election, right? So I think that they are failure to do that. So from 137 again, they moved to one. Now they have 88 seats. So it means that there is something, serious within the party, talking about building relationships, which they've not been able to do. So in my view, your question, what should they do? I think that they need to activate their conflict resolution mechanism, try to rebuild the party, because there are dissenting forces, several of them. And if you, over the years, even we saw it in the 2024 election, there were some key figures in the MPP, the elders of the party, who somehow fell along the line, right? And if you listen to their commentaries, you realize that it became more critical on their own government than even the opposition. If you look at Professor Watson, Kennedy, Arthur Kennedy, several of them, key persons, all right? So that should tell you that there is something, wrong with the party in terms of their relationship. And I think that is, now that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been returned as the candidate for the party, I think this is an opportunity for them to go deeper by building relationships using the internal mechanism at the national, the regional, and then the constituency level, so that it can travel across the length and breadth of the country and then build this relationship so that they will have a united force to prosecute the 2028 election agenda.
Right. In talking how they can do this, there's also the bit about appreciating what this race has been and the challenges that have come forth from it. In appreciating what the elections has been, it is not lost on anybody that the NPP opened themselves up or cut themselves deeply in terms of how the campaigns went, from the commentary, from some of the other individuals, particularly the person who came second on election day on Saturday, at some point openly captured on video describing the eventual winner as a liar, amongst many other things. Some say has cut them far too deeply, and possibly a bandage or trying to heal that wound, it will not be healed in time for elections 2028.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct, right? The party has allowed, this thing to go on for a very long time, okay? Some key figures, right, members of parliament could say anything, right? They could insult, they could do anything. So that is what some of the youth have come to learn, right? Because maybe when you insult, when you throw mud, when you lie against opponents within, it makes you popular, all right? So, and they have allowed this thing to go on. Other than that, if the party had been very critical of this, even some of the candidates who even contested, they should have cracked, the whip, because you have the constitution, right? So if people are doing things that are outside the constitution, you have to hold them to it. But if you allow them to get away with it, then it's a kind of blessing impunity, right? And it will come back to haunt you. And that's exactly the problem with this. Because if you go about telling, the Ghanaians that one of your key persons capable of leading this country is a liar, right? Now that you have elected that person to be the flag bearer, are you coming back to tell Ghanaians that it's not true, he wasn't a liar, he wasn't this, he wasn't that? So that is why political parties must be mindful, or politicians must be mindful of some of their utterances, using intemperate language, vulgar language, anything at all. It doesn't, because when you throw certain things, that means that you are arming the opposition party, because that is what you said your candidate is. So when the opposition are coming, they are only just coming to amplify what you yourselves have said about your candidate, and I think that is not. So sometimes it becomes very difficult, having done all this, and now you have elected him. Now you stood on the same platform, pledging your support that is the same party and all that. What about those things that you have said about this candidate? So is there sincerity in what you do, right? So sometimes it becomes very difficult. Even the victor, the expectation is that the victor will call all other parties come together and let us work together. But sometimes there may be some suspicion because of some of these things that had happened over the period. The suspicion, the mistrust. So it becomes, so you realize that the unity becomes something. Even though, the flag bearer pledged that he's going to do everything to bring everything on board. But it's not going to be easy. But that is what is necessary for them to do anyway. So that's why I said politicians must be mindful of the type of words that, they spew out. It's not everything, right? So sometimes, it should be competition of ideas rather than competition of insult. So I think that absolutely these are some of the challenges, and I think that they still have to work on this, right? But if you allow people that maybe it's an institution, it's a party, people can. That is why you have rules and regulations, right? So when people are violating your constitution, you call them to order. You don't just sit down. But if you sit down, so it's like you are blessing impunity. So it will get to every part of the party, and sometimes it becomes very difficult to control.
Has this issue that you've raised, these flouting of party regulations and the nature in which the campaign went, left the party more fragmented than it should be? In fact, even when we do a breakdown of how the voter pattern went, we're beginning to see what looks like 3 blocks, if we can call it that. And so it leaves many asking, is the NPP more fragmented now and looking to close their ranks on more fragments they had in 2023 after that primary than they have now?
Yeah, I think if you look at the situation now, it's like whatever happened in 2020, like I indicated that because they did not do any serious, reconciliation and all that. So those cracks still remain. Okay, so they just try to maybe wash the surface and then get, the people interested in contesting and all that. So basically the fragmentation is there, it's still there, right? It's still there. And that is why I have indicated that they need to work in order to address those issues, right? Because you don't move into a major election with, a fragmented front. Now you have, the champion factor in the election. Looking at his performance, and in this election, you have Honorable Kennedy Japan and all that, right? So I think that they should look at the issues critically, right, and confront them as they are. But if they want to bury them, it's something that happened in every party. But sometimes you look at the magnitude of, the impact, right? So basically, if over the years, you realize that your fortunes have been dwindling in terms of parliamentary, now even presidential vote, right? So if you look at across, so you realize that, parliamentary from 169, now you have 88 seats. From presidential, right? The first time President Mahama won was, he has, 50.7%. Then in this particular election, about 57%. That's very huge. Okay, so I think that there is something within the party that I think the party is not doing much to be able to address, and they need to address that. So the fragmentation is still there. So in my view, I think that they have to work at it to be able to address it, so that at least going into this election, which is going to be difficult for them anyway, but there's no doubt about it, it's going to be a difficult election. So it is, but that's why it is simply important that they are able to build, their relationships, to reconcile the forces, so that they will, they will prosecute the 2028 election agenda as one unit.
Right, Doc. I'm going to ask you this last question on the traditional blocks, but let me just mention that Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo is a statesman and also a founding member of the opposition New Patriotic Party. He's joined us on the phone lines as well as we talk the NPP and the outcomes from the weekend. But Doc, on to that final question I have, having to do with the traditional blocks as we've known. for a very long time for many students of Ghanaian politics, particularly politics in relation to the NPP. After 2008, the suggestion was that there was the Kufuor bloc and then there was the Nanado bloc in terms of representation within the NPP. Where are these blocks now as we speak, and who now controls the NPP as a party as we have it?
Well, indeed, yes. During President Kufuor's time, and when he was even leaving, okay, there were, people from that bloc somehow supported, like Alan Chiramantin. Alan Chiramantin at the time was seen as the candidate from that bloc, right? But unfortunately, things did not turn out well. And when Nana Akufo-Addo won, the expectation or what they have done was to address this internal issue by bringing people from the other side, right? But unfortunately, those cracks were still remain. They could not actually address that. Okay, so that is why you find some, like I talked about the fact that some of them fell along the way and became very critical of the Nana Akufo-Addo's government. It's because, they could not, right? Because once you are elected as the leader, now the responsibility or the onus lies on you to draw all the other forces, and then you sit down with them so that you move along with them. But if you decide to sideline them, okay, you form, going with your own people, definitely, if you go and things are difficult, right? So it becomes, and that has been the challenge for them. So even in this election, when you realize, you see Dr. Bawumia contesting the first time, it wasn't as, that was Nana Akufo-Addo's vice president, right? He was the president of the Republic of Ghana, and then that was his candidate. So what about the other? So it's like some people have been outside the government. So it's like you have a government, right, formed by a political party. Then there are some people who are in opposition within the same party. That's how I see it. So it's a kind of opposition within the same party. It's because of the failure to reconcile the forces within. All right. So those forces are still there, right? Those forces are still there, also expecting that maybe a candidate other than from Nana Akufo-Addo's side will win. Okay. So if that had happened, for example, if Brachampo had won the election, you would have realized that he will be, even though you see him as someone who is a pro Akufo-Addo, but the expectation is that maybe they would prefer someone who is not pro Akufo-Addo other than someone coming from any other bloc from that, because they've been outside that government for a very long time. So those cracks still remain. The pro Kufuor side, most of them are still there. All right. So expecting that maybe a different candidate other than Nana Akufo-Addo side. But if he had been able to reconcile these forces in his first government, even in the, so that would have even made the party stronger. But unfortunately, they could not do that. And that is still a major issue they need to contend with.
Doc, I appreciate you speaking to us this morning. Dr. Abdul Jalilu Ateku is a political science lecturer with the University of Ghana. Doc, I appreciate you greatly, and I'm sure we'll pick up the conversation again. Let me get into the other phone lines right now. Dr. Nyawonya Hutamaklu, like I mentioned, is also with us on the phone line. He's a statesman and also is a founding member of the NPP. From time to time, the party has had cause to want to challenge this particular assertion that we continue to describe him. But Doc, I appreciate you. Good morning to you. I trust that all as well.
Good morning.
Doc, I believe you followed and monitored the process of campaigns and what have you until election, and then a final victor declared on Saturday. Would you say you're satisfied with the process and then the outcome which we saw play out on Saturday?
Well, I think firstly there's one thing, woman, that's clear. in quote, the election was largely peaceful. But you ask yourself, peaceful in what way? An election, a democratic party like NPP, in an election where we had overwhelming numbers of police and military. So you ask yourself, without these security agents, what would have happened? Now, secondly, it is important for us to know that these parties played a key role in the democratic dispensation that we are enjoying now. Unfortunately, most of the people who did that human job are no more living. Now, I said right from the beginning that the top-bottom approach to me will not work. Now we are finished electing the flag bearer. Now how is he going to approach the reorganization of the party right from the grassroots to the top? You ask yourself one question. How can the present National Executive convince the ordinary person and tell him go this way or that way? In fact, there are a lot of numerous issues that have to be addressed. But I think the most important thing at the moment is how the party can unify and also bring back discipline to the party.
Do you believe Dr. Bawumia can unite the party as he stated on the podium from the weekend?
No, also unity can only come when you have fairness. Without fairness and honesty, there won't be any. I repeat that. As someone said something a few years back, without fairness, definitely there can't be peace. And these people have battered themselves in such a way. And I ask myself, what exactly is going to happen after that particular election? Well, elections have taken place. We've seen the result. To me, the most important thing now is how to get the party together. And reconciliation will be a problem. We had all sorts of insults and name calls left, right, center. And one thing too that I think damaged this party, and I was surprised a lot of people probably didn't talk about it or not. The role that the National Executive took by coming out openly to support one particular candidate. And indeed, even members of parliament. So that will tell you straight that line has been drawn, and factionalism was what was created. And believe me, that is the main thing that has to be sorted out.
It's important you mention that factionalism and what have you, because in the aftermath of Dr. Bawumia emerging victorious, already the rumor mill has begun to churn out some details as to some of the persons on social media in a scam suggesting that persons who did not support the candidature of the vice president, possibly as MPs, could lose their seat. We've heard very wild suggestions as to a change possibly in leadership in parliament, amongst many other things. What will be the advice to Dr. Bawumia at the present? Yes, he made the speech asking that everybody puts their hand together for victory to emerge, but even monitoring on social media, the different camps have continued to bicker after all of their candidates have said we concede and we want to work towards victory.
I want to mention about I think let me talk about that first before I come down to Dr. Bawumia's issue. Now, what we are hearing now about individuals who privately support a particular person and their faith as far as parliament is concerned had happened recently. It happened. I mean, the last election, 2024. If you watch carefully, the 80 MPs that came and kicked against Oforiatta maintained as a finance minister in parliament, and they called a press conference headed by Atiku, whom I caution that they have to be careful, because they are not careful. Akufo-Addo, as I knew, would definitely talk him out of it, and he did within hours. Now, most of these gentlemen, if you look at the records carefully, you can see that more than 70% of them did not return to the parliament house. It was a planting, and they were all dropped for challenging the authority. So this is where I get worried always about our party. But the party from the word go was not like that. You have a right. There was what we call internal democracy. We don't have internal democracy now. And if Bawumia really wants to unite this party, then first and foremost, he should sit and respect the party structures. And discipline is first thing that is showing itself. Factionalism is also there. And then he should look carefully at what we call leadership politics. Because we are going to have elections right down from the bottom, which should have been done earlier on, to the top. Now it's going to be from the top to the bottom. And he can't tell me that he cannot get involved with it. Well, now you are going to deal with the grassroots, those who will make you a king or dethrone you. Now, here, they have to look at character, competence, courage, and conviction. And not just money, or what I say temporary or temporal popularity. These things will not work. Bawumia has to be very, 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 very strict. He should call a spade when it's necessary. And he should show for the first time that he is now in the driving seat. That is the only way this party can come together. That's all that I have to say.
And for him being his own man, it was a question I was asking Dr. Ateku as to the blocks, whether or not the Akufo-Addo or the Kufuor blocks is existing still. What is very present for all of us to see is that the Akufo-Addo block has continued, and one of the many things which he carried into that 2024 elections was the extension of President Akufo-Addo. Do you see him as being a man able to wield his own influence and chart his own path towards elections 2028?
Well, I believe strongly Bawumia can do that. He is serious about it. Now, normally, in our politics here, in Africa in particular, when we are in position, we don't want to lead. You come there, both head of states and ministers and whatever you call them, they are appointed or elected and will stay put, even if they have failed, or even if they disagree with a particular policy. I have said time and again that when Bawumia fell as economist, he wasn't given the opportunity to do the work that is expected of him as an economist. To me, the best thing he should have done was to take his pen and resign. And believe me, he would have had enormous respect in this country and beyond. But the culture of resignation is not in our case. It's unfortunate. Even when leadership fails, particularly the president himself, when he fails, he won't take his pen and resign. Just yesterday, I was listening to politics in England, where a man who put together, Lord Morrison, or whatever he's called, he put together the Labour Party to come into power for continuous 13 years, having been accused of one or two things. A man who has been a minister before, a man who has been, in fact, until recently he was the ambassador of the UK in Washington, D.C., until he was dropped with the same problem. He just yesterday resigned from the party entirely. You see, that particular culture, until we get it in this country can never go forward. That is why people come to leadership role, they steal in the national corporate, and yet they have the guts to defend themselves. We are seeing it happening right now. And I personally would like to tell this present government that if they fail to hold to account those who stole our money, believe me, they will have a big problem with the people of this country. Because that is the number one thing ordinary Ghanaians are looking for. If they don't see it, I'm telling them today. Because we can't continue like that. People come and steal $1 million. And even the finance minister refusing to come and at least answer questions how he used our money. And it appears government is quite over it. I don't care what anybody says. What I'm saying is the fact. Then we are getting to a situation where the people will be fed up with the political class. And what happens after that? Those who are historians can talk better about it.
Right. Doc, one final question in terms of the former president. In fact, the two of them, interestingly, did not turn up at the party's headquarters to vote for any of the candidates in the primary. What do you make of that decision to abstain, particularly for former President Akufo-Addo, not turn up to vote, but was there to deliver a speech and urge for unity and for the party to head towards the 2028 elections and win?
Well, I don't know. They might have their reasons, but me personally, it wasn't good for democracy. They should have been seen, at least at the various voting centers, voting. And that would have encouraged a lot of people. Your leadership always sets an example. What will happen if we have national elections now? And the ordinary Ghanaian says, I'm fed up. I have no more faith in the political class. So what they did was exactly what the ordinary person will look at. That's all.
Right then. I appreciate you joining us this morning, Doc.
It's a pleasure.
Right then. That's Dr. Nyaho Tamaklu. He's a statesman and a founding member of the New Patriotic Party, joining us this morning as we continue to dissect a lot more of what transpired from the weekend in relation to the opposition New Patriotic Party, who have their flag bearer in the person of Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, ready to lead towards elections 2028. The 3FM Sunrise, and we're getting into our next aspect of the conversation. Thankfully, we've been joined by Reverend Father Michael Kobna Akonkweku, who is a peace and conflict resolution facilitator. He will help us talk how the NPP, as a party, deal with the factionalism we saw, and to a certain extent, the pure reduction to gutter behavior, politicking, which was associated with the largest opposition party in the country. Reverend Father, the peace of the Lord be with you. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
It's my pleasure indeed.
I think the question really is simple. I was just trying to go through and put together or piece together some of the things that we saw. At some point, it was down to plain bigotry, really, in terms of how the elections played out, from their respective camps taking nasty shots at each other. Now there's an eventual winner, and the question is, how do they come together, really, to hail properly for elections 2028?
Right. Well, I think that while we might be uncomfortable with the adversarial nature of democratic politics, we shouldn't be surprised, because in the end it's a competition which looks forward to selecting an individual or a group of people. What it means is that if a group of people win, another group of people lose. If a certain individual wins, another individual also loses. And whilst those who win will rejoice, you would expect that those who lose will feel embittered, and of course, what would follow would be the natural feeling of discomfort, being let down, and all of that. But what we're talking about is what happened before or during the elections, the name calling, and bringing out some depth about each other and all of that. I think that if we understood all of that in the context of the nature of the game, then whilst we would rather it didn't happen, we would not be surprised. So I think that is where we should begin from.
we should take away the surprise factor and then deal with the substantive matter and ask whether it is the way we want to go. Because this thing happens elsewhere in the world. We've heard how names are called, you know, in the U.S., in Great Britain, everywhere. But the question should be, is that the way to go? And I think that for at least those of us from this side of the world, where there's a lot of premium put on the dignity of the person, respect for each other, putting value on our common, destiny and our shared values. This shouldn't be the way to go. So, well, it has happened.
Right.
Unfortunately, it has happened. But I would say the way to go is to see how those who have won will be magnanimous, those who have lost to be able to take the bitter pill with a bit more of strength, and then see that both those and those who have lost are not bigger than the parties that they want to represent.
Right.
I think that is the way to go.
Who should do the reaching out more? I ask this because, and I know you're dealing with the aspect of peace, and so you do not get into the nitty-gritties of the politics and who is who and all of that. But if there's one thing I can recall from all of the events from the past, particularly in relation to the NPP, was that when the 5 candidates were signing the peace pact, Kennedy Japan and Dr. Bawumia were not seen, I can confidently say they weren't seen eye to eye in terms of their demeanor and how they approached even that entire peace pact signing. Yesterday as well, it wasn't same. Who should be doing the reaching out as they seek to consolidate and unite amongst the two? Or should we be getting an elder doing this and seeking to bridge the gap which exists? Because it's very clear and very obvious for all to see.
Well, I didn't pay attention to the body language, but yes, I've heard the commentaries about how things panned out. But I think that what I've heard is the speeches of both men. Honorable Kennedy Japan, I think was quite decent in his his speech after the elections to concede and
right.
to congratulate his brother. I think when the former vice president and now the leader of the MPP, took the podium, and after that, I think in his home, he also was magnanimous and conciliatory.
Right.
So I think that there's the goodwill from all camps for the sake of the country and for the sake of the party to reconcile. So I wouldn't say who should do it first, but I think that both men understand the value of their words and their actions, especially after the elections are done. That when they speak, they speak to bring on board some constituencies within their own party and within the country, and so it is important that their words make for peace and reconciliation. It is important that their posturing make for the regrouping of their political party and for their own political fortunes going forward. So that would be my thoughts on the matter. I think that they both understand the value of their actions and their words, and I hope that they will act and speak accordingly for the sake of their own reputations and for the good of their own political party.
And for Dr. Bawumia, who is the flag bearer of the NPP now. Yes, the party says that the chairman is the leader of the party, but he is in a position of immense power amongst many other things. What should he do?
Well, I think what he should do is what he has said he will do. That he will unite the party, and to enhance the fortunes of his party going forward. And if he does that, if he unites the party by word and deed, and brings on board all those who, because they were unsuccessful, or that their candidates were unsuccessful, feel peeved and disheartened, he was able to bring all of them on board, and to understand his mandate as uniting the party and bringing his party closer to their own sort of aspirations of regaining power, then that would be a good job, well executed. So I would say that's what he should, aim to do, precisely to execute what he says he would do, to unite the party and to enhance their fortunes. I think that is what any leader of a political party should aim at doing. And if he did that, I'm sure his party will be grateful to him.
Should we, for instance, as part of seeing what it is that he will do, opt to make one of the individuals who fiercely contested him a running mate? Will that serve as the ultimate course of action, which says that this is a man who wants to put the party together and unites them?
See, in the end, that would be his decision to make, of course, pursuant to his consultation with the party elders, or all those who will need to advise him for the good of their party going forward. So I think I'll leave that to him. But merely as a student of politics, what I would say is that whoever chooses a running mate chooses them because they believe, one, that they are the candidate who would pair with them to make their fortunes increase. Two, that they would have a certain appeal, not only with their base but with the wider Ghanaian population, but also somebody who, in the event that the presidential candidate is not available, would be ready to take up the reins of the leadership of the country. So I am sure that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia understands these dynamics and will employ all the necessary variables and the decision-making processes to look for one he believes will be good for all of this. If that happens to be one of those who have contested and done very well and good for him and for his party. If not, well, I would have to respect that he has understood what his task is, and then made a decision, pursuant to that particular call.
Right. Just finally on the supporters, because we've had the leaders of the various camps speak to the fact that I concede defeat and what have you, but on social media and on other platforms, the animosity continues to exist. What will be the message to them, the supporters?
Well, if I was preaching, I would say, I'll tell them a house divided against itself cannot stand. But now that we're talking about peace, let us say that the value of peace and unity is the strength to forge ahead. So disunity and animosity is a deficit.
Right then, Reverend, appreciate you. That's Reverend Father Michael K. Kweku speaking to us this morning. Rev, I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much.
That's Reverend Father Michael K. Kweku speaking to us this morning as well on the fortunes of the NPP, particularly on the subject matter of healing, unification, and the going forward for the party after the weekend. Who should be extending the olive branch? He says that the comments from all of the individuals suggest a willingness to smother and smoothen the pathways towards peace and reconciliation. So it's all the good, and it doesn't necessarily have to take an individual wanting to do that on behalf of anybody.
Do the Muhammad dance. Give me that kufado.
The Electoral Commission has reiterated its commitment to organizing free and fair elections this December.
How's your week treating you? I'm here to serve you great music tidbits for your at-work listening pleasure. Rastafari, Rastafari, Rastafari. Our Father, who art in Zion, Kanamawe, Kanamawe, Kanamawe. Oh, turn it up!
Come into the mountains. Sight and I grandfather.
It's time to drive you home in style with great music, the 411 and all your favorite songs, what's happening around town, and so much more.
And in the headlines today, the two leading political parties have been addressing the public on allegations of corruption. The Black Stars coach has unveiled his squad for the upcoming game.
As we talk, the NPP.
Do the Muhammad dance. Give me that.
Mensah is a political communication consultant. That's a cap he's wearing today. I'll leave out the government position today, and then we'll get into the conversations. Prof, good morning to you. Happy New Year. I don't think we've spoken this year, even though.
No, we haven't spoken. Good morning.
I should
and Happy New Year to you too. I'm sure you are pumping up for the new year.
Yes. I'm pumped, actually, pumping myself for the new year. It's already started as well. I'm sure you've been monitoring and you followed through as well all of the conversations from the weekend and what have you. In terms of what we've seen, I just want to pick general thoughts from you for starters, then perhaps we'll get into the conversations proper.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so much for that. I mean, I think that, yes, generally the elections went on well. Clearly, there hasn't been any extreme, kind of disappointment in terms of the party's, architecture, in terms of the entire party. Of course, the individual contestant might be disappointed here and there, but it looks like the party itself is happy with, what has just happened. So, broadly speaking, you would say that the NPP has done well. However, I have some kind of reservations as to why they chose the kind of format that they chose, for a simple reason. I mean, if you listen to Nana B, who actually claims to have suggested the early, flag bearership race for the NPP, on the simple reason that it is better for them to do it so that they can resolve any disgruntlement, before the party goes into the election. I thought that particular, underpinning or that particular rationale is a flawed rationale. I thought that it's a catch-22, and I thought that is what we usually say fourth economy. Why am I saying that? At least you have about 5 elections to run. Usually you have the flag bearer race, but before that, you're supposed to have a polling station executive elections. You have regional executive elections. You have constituency level executive elections. You have national executive elections before you come to the flag bearership race, right? Now, each of these elections, surely you're going to have a certain disgruntlement, all right? Now, the general rule of good practices these days in any managerial situation is bottom-up approach, all right? Bottom-up approach. Now, in their wisdom, they thought that it would be good to do top-down, which I think in many spheres of management, whether it's political management or commercial management or social management, people are shunning top-down for bottom-up. But they thought that in their wisdom, top-down is better for them. Okay, granted that it is, and it would resolve the kind of thing that they anticipate. But if you're going to organize polling station elections, then constituency level, then regional, then national, all these levels of elections are going to come with themselves a certain level of disgruntlement, or disenchantedness, or some disquiet in the party. And certainly they're going to be closer to the elections. If I should ask them the question, would you like a disgruntled top, or you would like a disgruntled base closer to the election? I would choose a disgruntled top because it's easy to put them or to call them on the table and to resolve. When you have a disgruntled base towards an election period, you're going to have pockets and pockets of disgruntled base across the country. Which one would you choose? So the wisdom on which they did this, unless, of course, they know why they did it, for particular reasons other than the opportunity to resolve their differences before the election, I think it's a very, very strange thing to say. So yeah, that's my observation in this.
And I think we've even begun already the rebrand conversation to an extent. But let me also get onto the other phone lines as well, because we've been as well joined by another political marketing expert here on the 3FM Sunrise, in appreciating what the NPP can do in terms of a rebrand for itself. Stephen Osei Achiang is a political marketing and strategic communication analyst with the University of Education, Winneba as well. Ms. Achiang, I appreciate you joining us as well this morning.
Right, thank you so much, and good morning. I am into strategic communication. Yes, and political. Yes.
Right. Perhaps let me start off the conversation proper with you as to, we've seen who the NPP has selected. Yeah. If there's anything, I like to make it very practical in terms of the reactions in the aftermath of his selection on social media, where the NPP supporters are excited and saying they are going to bring him back amongst many other things. And Ghanaians, some persons are saying that, look, we haven't forgotten who he is, what administration he was a part of, amongst many other things. It presupposes there is a challenge, or there's a task ahead for the NPP and Dr. Bawumia in rebranding for elections 2028. Talk to us as to how they surmount that particular challenge.
Right, thank you. I want to say a good morning to the good people of Ghana, and then your listeners, and then a good morning to my Vice Chancellor of the University of Education, and my constituents at the university and the staff. And so I believe he was the one on the line.
Yes. It's Professor.
Yes. So a very good morning to Prof. Yes, they've been able to finish their work. I think I was listening to Prof very well, and then it appears I share most of the same sentiments with Prof. The disgruntled, they have a lot of disgruntled people within the MPP at the moment, and when Dr. Bawumia has won. I was watching a specific video this morning where he was talking about the fact that there are issues on the ground, and then he is going to personally get himself involved in making sure that they bring everyone together for the tax ahead. And that, I'm saying this to buttress what Prof mentioned, that how will you be able to solve the issues on the ground where you have a lot of people involved, and then at the top you have just a few small number of people to actually take care of. I also personally, I was thinking about this top-down approach instead of the bottom-up approach. And also, of course, that one could only be justified, in my view, after the 2028 elections, as to whether it is really going to help. Now, let's know that those who voted for this very election, this 31st, are the same people who voted in 2023. If I'm wrong, please just let me know. But if you're looking at the same constituents, the same delegates who voted in 2023, and they are the same people who voted in 2026, then if people are disgruntled, they are still there. They are still disgruntled. And well, the former president mentioned that now that the elections are over, all the factions to come together. It means that they appreciate and they have accepted that there are factions.
Right.
But how do you solve these factions from the top? You need to start solving them from the base. Now, if you look at the votes very carefully, Dr. Bawumia, his votes, he only lost about probably almost 8,000 votes, if I'm right. You are just opposing the 2023 votes of over 118,000 votes to 110,000 votes. Now, it means that the same number of people voted. They have not changed.
Right.
Yes, they've not changed. So that should tell you that, well, then there is a big tax ahead. And I agree. I agree with the candidate for MPP, Dr. Bawumia, that he knows he has a lot of work to do and they need to come together. But is it going to be as simple as it is? Yes, the big five in the other four people who contested him are all saying that let's come together and work. But if I've watched some of the videos from some of these, the background of some of these conceding statements,
right,
and then you could hear from the back that no, we are not going to agree. And we do a lot of, so I do a lot of social media because of my area of expertise. So you listen to the people on the ground. And in one video, someone says that, oh, the delegates, you are going to do the same, you're going to create the same mistakes. When the time is due for us to vote, come and tell me who to go and vote for. If you can, I know what to do to you.
Right. So for you, yes, there is that challenge as to the but like you say, the individual has been selected already.
Yeah, he's been selected. Yes.
So how do they begin to mold a fresh image for him?
Now, as I said, I'm happy that he himself has stated that he's going to get himself involved in it, but it's not about him alone. He's not the only person to do it. Now he needs the right people to advise. In one of the statements by Kennedy Japan, when he conceded, he made a statement on 3FM. I looked at it on your social media handle, and I want to read what he said. And I'll read that of Dr. Bawumia. So I'll start with Dr. Bawumia. He said, unity, discipline, and respect must guide our next steps. And I'll read that of Honorable Kennedy Japan. He says that he pledges his support to Dr. Bawumia and accept the results. We need unity in the party. And remember, the unity has still been mentioned by Dr. Bawumia. He goes further to say that by unity comes with respect for each other's views. You realize Dr. Bawumia also mentioned respect. But the Kennedy Japan said that the unity you want, you must respect each other's view. Right. Now, Dr. Bawumia should be able to, he must ensure that he says he's going to create a reconciliation team to do whatever. He must ensure that they are able to accord enough respect to all those people who matter. Kennedy Japan is just an individual. He's just the head or the leader of that particular team. But those under him, those supporting him are also seriously big people who also need to be respected if Dr. Bawumia and his team, and if the NPP are able to do that, then they are good to go.
Right. Mr. Chan, I appreciate you joining us. Because of time, I'll have to go to Prof on the other line for us to wrap up. Prof, you've given me your general sentiments. Comes the big question of, can the NPP undertake a rebrand between now and 2028? Because they compare what happened with President Mahama to the Bawumia situation and say, if Mahama can do a rebrand and return, Dr. Bawumia can do same. Is that a possibility between now and 2028?
Well, of course, it's a possibility. I mean, clearly, you would have to, do something to put the party in shape. What you have to do is the question. For me, it looks like they are putting the cart ahead of the horse. Why? Because I would have expected them to, have done the base elections before they do the top. Because now you cannot talk about any peace, you cannot talk about any rebranding when you haven't even started conducting the polling station elections. If you start talking about rebranding and you start your rebranding agenda, and then you start polling station elections where your backers are going to ensure that Kennedy Ejapon's backers, Dr. Brana Champon's backers, Kwabena Ejapon's backers, Educhum's backers, their photos are removed from the election photo or the photo album for elections in order that they can elect their own people as opposed to Kennedy Japan's people, then have you started or not your rebranding? And nobody can deceive anyone to say that those who ensure that Dr. Bawumia is re-elected would not want to hold the key positions in the party. Whoever wants to become a constituency chairman who is the backer of Dr. Bawumia would also want Dr. Bawumia to back them to become the constituency chairman. If Dr. Bawumia says, no, let it be clearly done, or if I should use the word, let us be transparent, etc., and that individual is not the most loved or the most tipped for that position, would not be happy with Dr. Bawumia saying that I ensure that you become the flag bearer. You have to ensure that I become the party chair at the constituency level. That is where the problem lies. There is going to be a lot of disgruntlement because his backers want to hold positions from the polling station to the top, national elections. The same way the Japan's backers haven't lost the top slot, they would want to hold the base. You're going to have a lot of disgruntlement. So that's what I'm saying, that you can't start talking about unity now when you have about 5 or 4 elections, crucial elections down the line. You should make sure that all these elections are held, the disgruntlement are all out there, and then you start working on them. You can start, of course, to sort of solve the disquiet at the top, but you know that you have polling station elections to hold, constituency level, regional level, and national level. How are you going to deal with those ones? So for me, they have put the cart ahead of the horse.
Right.
And they're going to face a lot of problems. But of course, they can rebrand. Who says they cannot? They can.
Right.
But they have a tough job because they split or they wheel the thing upside down. And that presents to them a lot of challenges than they would have done if they had done the base elections before the top level elections.
Just on that rebrand, particularly for the person of Dr. Bawumia, and what has been a challenge in an identity for him, and I'm sure it's something you appreciate.
I mean,
where does he pivot
identity crisis. There's a huge identity crisis for Dr. Bawumia. Don't forget that in terms of messaging, he was highly associated with economic, messaging. Not only did he, obliterate that by moving towards digitalization, which means that he actually sort of created confusion as in his brand identity by just doing that. But also it's been compounded. It's been compounded by the current performance of the administration. The NDC had completely obliterated Bawumia's so-called identity in the economic space and completely obliterated him on credibility space. And so in terms of brand identity, he has almost none. I don't think that the equity of Dr. Bawumia is something to, look out in terms of its positivity. He has a very negative equity. And resolving that becomes even much more challenging because of the performance of this particular administration. And so he needs a lot of work.
Right.
He needs a lot of work, especially to build that brand equity or the brand identity we're talking about.
Right then, Prof, we'll leave it here. I'm sure there'll be a lot more opportunity for us to talk and possibly engage as well. But I appreciate you as always speaking to us.
Thank you.
That's Professor Kobe Mensah speaking to us this morning as well. We're just going to round up with a final aspect of this conversation, the place of God and spirituality, because it's been a subject matter that has quite dominated conversations vis-a-vis what it is that we saw play out from the elections. You may have heard Prophet El Bernard make some very obvious declarations that Kennedy Ohene Japan was going to win. I think even Crosby was telling us a day to the elections, he had stated emphatically that they'd be jubilant because victory was sealed amongst many other things. 24 hours after that, he's apologized. Yesterday at church, he said he wasn't going to preach. He was going to take some time off the podium amongst many other things and seek counseling by himself and seek the face of the Lord. It's brought a lot of people commenting, making some commentary and asking questions. Did he really hear from God? What's the place of religion in politics? Even when he was prophesying and continuing on that tangent, we had Anthony Abeifa Kabu, who's a key aide or in the camp of Dr. Bawumia, speak to the fact that, look, these prophecies, sometimes we give them to the pastors so that they declare on our behalf. We've seen a lot of that play out. And so we're just going to ask that really pointed question quickly as to the outcome of what it is that we saw. Dr. Harry Agbenu is the professor of study of religions at the University of Ghana. So I suppose you will be a prof. Prof, I appreciate you joining us as well this morning here on the 3FM Sunrise. It's
Thank you very much, but I'm not a prof.
Okay. So
I am a senior lecturer, retired in the Department for the Study of Religions.
Absolutely.
University of Ghana.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what we saw play out, really, we have a problem on our hands, or it's a case of religion always having a place in politics since time immemorial, and perhaps we have to begin to accept it and have these religious persons identify the role it is that they want to play in our politics.
Yeah, the relationship between religion and politics in Ghana has always been established, because the people who are the politicians are themselves also, to a very large extent, religious. And so it is not a problem at all carrying your faith into your political enterprise. So that relationship will continue to be there. However, how that relationship is managed is the problem we are having. I'm not sure the problem we have on our hands today has to do with religious politicians. Unfortunately, it rather has to do with a supposed religious person without any declared political affiliation or ambition. So that's what I would say for now, and probably answer other questions that you may follow up with.
So if that relationship exists, it's been established, why the hue and cry from time to time when we get prophecies like these and they do not play out? Is it a lack of appreciation of that fact? Because now there's a suggestion that some of these are even cooked.
my brother, it is the misuse of religion for political gains that is creating the anxiety among the populace. Religion is supposed to be absolute. Religion is supposed to give us truth that is revealed from God and accepted based on faith. But when truth, the supposed truth, turns out to be falsehood, then it creates anxiety for the people and affects their faith in God, so to speak, or their object of worship. And it's clearly the fact that there are charlatans who are now trying to make themselves popular and also to have some personal gains by trying to commercialize religion. And that is what is creating the problem. The problem is not the prophecy, but the falsity of the prophecy is the problem.
Should we be seeing a learning curve of some sort following what played out from this weekend, just briefly?
That is what is supposed to be, but whether it is going to be is the question, because the greed of the individual will persist, and so. But it's something that we all must learn from. That we should not take the word of so-called religious people for the fact, and then act according to those predictions or prophecies, because there is no way to be able to adduce evidence to support those prophecies or not until the prophecies come to pass or they don't come to pass. So that is difficult. So as religious people, we must be cautious and conscious of the activities of some individuals who are using religion as a means of their livelihood and will stop at nothing to continue to, misbehave the way they are misbehaving.
Right. Look, we'll leave it here for want of time, and I'm sure we'll get an appropriate forum for us to pick up this conversation again.
I will be most grateful. Thank you for the opportunity to reach out to your listeners.
Always. We appreciate you, Dr. Agbenu, as well, for speaking to us. That's Harry Agbenu. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana. Just final thoughts, also. They are speaking to your kind, they say you have to.
People will do say, God will say that, my son, let me call you. But
why? If he calls you, what's wrong with it?
Oh, if God calls me, what can I say? It's God that is calling me. But I mean, you've spoken to them. They've shared great insights. We wish the MPP all the best in their quest to rebuild, rebrand, and then recapture power. They say, wish them all the best, because like the thing is, we can't have just one proper party. We can't have just.
Oh, we need the opposition.
Exactly, to be on top of issues so that they can keep the government on its toes. If they don't, it means we'll leave the playing field for the NDC. They can do whatever they want, and then it is you and I who will be suffering. So wish them all the best. They have a long way to go. This is just the beginning. But the NDC should also learn lessons from the NPP.
Absolutely. That's Noah Crosby Annan with me. Sixer Stone Ulo on production, Corey, the rest of the guys, Eddie, as well as DJ Phil on the ones and twos for us this morning. Christabel Success Trevor started with us at 6 a.m.
Success Trevor.
Is it Trevor or Trevi? Trevi. Crosby, you have to stop misbehaving. We're back again tomorrow, God willing, myself, Crosby, and the rest of the guys. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Many thanks for listening.